come over to the wall, bringing our dominant or tighter arm into a high V, twisting away from that arm with the abs braced. The leg closest to the wall steps back into a lunge. Internally rotate that leg from the top of the hip socket, breathing into a nice stretch for the calf. Deep inhales and long exhales here. As you're working, focus on keeping the chin lifted, gaze soft. Eyes should be looking a little higher than eye level. Shoulder blades are trying to find one another by pulling together. Shoulders are plugging down the back. Belly isn't pushing out, but pulling in towards the spine actively. The leg is internally rotated, meaning it's turned in towards the center line of your body, towards your median, towards your groin, from the top of the hip socket. So it creates a pigeon-toed foot turning in. And as you drive the pelvis forward with the abs engaged, you're going to get into the outer calves. So breathe into that nice stretch, inhaling and exhaling. Deep inhale and long exhale. Our postures will be held anywhere between 3 and 2.5 minutes for level 4. I'll always give you a variation so that you don't have to hold a stretch for too long. So option now, if you want to begin rolling the calves, you can do it from a lying position. So I want you to focus, unless you only have if you have a foam roller works, but the trigger ball, lacrosse ball, or tennis ball would be even better. Lie on your back, roll the outer part of the calf of your dominant or tighter leg right now. Or you can sit up. You can elevate your pelvis by pushing the hands into the floor. Bracing your abs as you do this, watching out for rounding in the low back. And we're just digging into our calf muscles. Another way to get in is to take that ball and wedge it between the calf, sitting back on it. It's another nice way to get into that. The shin can be down, the top of the foot, and you're sitting back. If you have sensitive knees, perhaps the seated or lying rolling variation is better. If you're still on the wall stretch, stay there. I'd encourage you for our deep flexibility today to pick at least one stretch to hold for the entire 3 to 2.5 minutes. Just to see what that feels like. Always coming out of the stretches very slowly since we're holding them for a long period of time. Be where you are right now. A couple more breaths. And let's slowly move to the other side. Setting up to stretch out the other side, breathing into that stretch. Starting on the wall with our high V, non-dominant or not as tight arm on the wall. Leg closest to the wall steps back for our calf stretch. Internally rotate that leg at the top of the hip socket, driving the pelvis forward, pulling the low belly in, taking the gaze up a little higher than eye level, pulling the shoulder blades together, widening the collarbone, relaxing the jaw and the eyes and the sockets, the forehead, the chest muscles, firming the low belly in towards the spine, staying active there. Deep inhales and exhales, taking you further and further into your stretch. If you feel any joint discomfort, make sure you're not locking out in the joints, so make sure that the elbow remains soft, that the knee, if your back leg is soft, the front leg's knee is at a right angle, so it's definitely flexed, so we don't have to worry about locking there. But keep lifting up through your abs. We have about another minute and 15 seconds, so if you want to move into a rolling variation, or if you want to turn and face the wall and just focus on the calf here, driving the pelvis forward, your choice. So you can come out of that upper body stretch for the front of the shoulder, and you can move into a focus of really working into that outer calf by rolling in a supine, which means lying on your back position, in a seated position with awareness of the pelvis and keeping it tipped back and the belly firm, or on the knees, sitting back, digging in, rolling around, getting into that fascia. Wherever you are, make sure you're breathing. Make sure the chin isn't dropping to the chest, but staying lifted and the gaze is higher than eye level. Final 30 seconds. Let's breathe together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. 1 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. We'll make our way onto the floor if you're not there already, grabbing our foam roller, bringing it behind our shoulder blades. Now, before you move into this, know that you want to support the head with the hands, and you want to start with the roller on the top of the shoulder blades. This is where it's less intense. Keep your pelvis, your tailbone, down on the floor at all times. Allow your upper back to arch over. Keep your belly in. Actively push the shoulder blades into the roller. Feet hip distance apart, knees pointing up to the ceiling, feet on the ground. Here we go. Coming into it. We'll be here for 3 minutes. I'll give you some variations if staying in it for 3 minutes is too much. As a minute goes by, I'm going to move you a little deeper into the posture, but if it becomes too much, know you can always take one of the other options. So as you're here, it's really important that you're pulling your abs in to support the pose, that you're not pushing them out, that you're not elevating your pelvis, you're not picking your butt up into the air. You're keeping that tailbone on the floor, and you're allowing your shoulder blades to really actively press into that roller, widening the collarbone, expanding the chest cavity, opening up the upper fibers of your abdominal wall. As you go deeper into the posture, it's possible that the top of your head will rest on the ground. Just make sure you keep the throat open by lifting the chin a hair. Collarbone wide, shoulders plugged down the back, low belly in towards the spine. Active lift up on the muscles that stop your stream of pee every time you exhale. For the next minute, see if you can go to the middle of the shoulder blades with the roller. A little more intense. If this is too intense, stay at the top of the shoulder blades. If you've had enough, if it's become too much, you can always come into a cat and cow variation. And I'll show you that right now. So arching, we'll actually inhale to come into cow and exhale into cat. It looks like this again. Inhale, cow, exhale, cat. So that's always an option if you've had enough of this deep opener for the front abdominal wall. But if you're here, stay here. Let's get deep into those fibers of the rectus abdominis, helping to combat that lean because of that overactivity there. So you should be right now in the middle of the shoulder blades if you can tolerate it and breathe into it. If you did move to the middle, see if you can move now to the base, the bottom of the shoulder blades. If this is too intense, stay in the middle, or if it was too intense to move to the middle, stay at the top. Perhaps you're at the top and you want to test the middle again to see if you've gotten a little opening and you can tolerate it. Be where you are. The progression would be to be down at the base of the shoulder blades by now, but if you're not there, don't beat yourself up. Be where you are. Honor your practice today. If moving into cat and cow now seems necessary, do that. Just another 20 seconds. Let's breathe together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Brace your abs. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, back up. Slowly set that roller to the side. Come to lie on your abdomen. Bring your dominant or tighter arm into cactus. You're not as strong and not as tight arm by the chest. So I'm going to just sit up. You don't need to sit up, but your hands look like this. The head is turned towards the hand by the chest. The top of the head, the temple stays on the floor at all times. Shoulders are plugged down. Same leg, side of the body as the hand that's down by the chest spirals up and around. If you notice when you spiral around, you can't get the foot to the floor, spiral out of it and grab a bolster, block, or pillow to put under the foot. The toes are pointed of the leg spiraling around. The other knee can bend. Low belly firm. We're going to be here for a bit. Make sure you're breathing. I'll give you some options if staying in this pose for the full 3 minutes is too much, okay? So see if you can tolerate it. Make sure you're breathing. Using that breath is so important here. So as you're breathing, actively lift up on the muscles that stop your stream of pee. Since we're in deep extension here, we want to support the low back. So as you breathe, breathe laterally into the side body and upper back. Pull the belly in and actively lift up on the muscles that stop your stream of pee as you exhale. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Brace the abs, spiral a little deeper. 2, 3, 4. Keep the head down. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Twisting. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2. Stay with it. If you need to come out of it, find cat and cow. That is our go-to movement, active movement, if we've had enough of the static stretching. One more breath here if you can hang in there. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Brace your abs. Exhale, spiraling out of it slowly, setting up on the other side. Once you've set up, you can move into it nice and slow. And I just want you to take your time here coming into the pose because it's not an easy one. Using the breath to support the back by lifting the lower abdominals in and actively tugging up on the pelvic floor. Expansive breathing, breathing into the upper back, the side body, the rib cage. Plug the shoulders down. Keep your chin lifted even in this prone position. Shoulders plugged down, gaze soft, jaw relaxed, forehead, eyes in the sockets, tongue, all relaxed, belly firm. Pull the navel in like you're putting on the tightest pair of jeans, tightest pair of skinny jeans ever. Keep the belly in. It hurts if you push it out. So pull it in. Just one more minute here. If you need to come out, you need to move into cat and cow, you do that. But wherever you are, you're breathing, your abs are in. If you move out of the pose, make sure you do it very slowly. But you have less than a minute remaining, so see if you can hang in there. See if you can open up the front of the shoulders, the pec minor, those hip flexors. If you've been seated for travel or work, all need your attention. Let's give them the attention they deserve right now. 30 more seconds here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Almost there. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. From here, let's slowly make our way out of it. We're going to, after we come out of it, take our mat and we'll move it over to the wall for legs up the wall, releasing our hamstrings. Now, as you come into this pose, keep the knees soft, pelvis neutral, low belly firm. Once you have the legs up the wall, option to play with flexing the toes and pointing the toes just to keep it a little active. And check your pelvic position periodically by taking one hand under the low back and making sure there's a mouse hole between the low back and the floor. If this becomes too much at any point in time, you can always bring the legs off the wall, come to lie on your back on the floor. You can grab your black Theraband and you can bring it around the arch of your dominant foot and you can stretch the hamstrings independently, one at a time. You stay on the wall. Please stay on the wall if you can hang out here. Keep fighting for the tailbone to reach towards the wall, neutral pelvis. I'll go and demo what the single leg stretch for the hamstrings looks like. And you can prop a ball under the head if you're in this position. Other leg that's not stretching can be extended out long or foot on the ground with the knee pointed up. The most important thing is that the pelvis is neutral. But we're getting both hamstrings at the same time by having the legs up the wall. If your legs are still up the wall, you can flex and point the toes. I'll let you know if you have decided to take this single leg version when to switch to the non-dominant, not as tight leg. That'll be about 40 seconds from now if you're doing this variation. But if your legs are up the wall, stay here. This is a great, great way to open up the backs of the legs, get both legs at the same time, relax the mind, focus on your pelvic position and the abs staying engaged, using your breath. So I'm going to stay in this single leg version just for the sake of showing you when we switch sides, and then I'll move back over to the wall to finish up with you there if you're still there. Keep breathing here. And let's slowly switch. If you're doing the single leg, taking that black Theraband around the arch of your non-dominant, not as tight leg. If your legs are up the wall, play around with pointing and dorsiflexing the feet. I'm going to slowly move back over to the wall. You stay where you feel you're getting the best stretch without any joint pain, any pain in the back, because you're bracing your abs, you're using the low abs. Don't lock your knees out, not great for the joints. Keep a soft bend in them, you'll still get a stretch. Dorsiflex the feet, plantar flex the feet, play around with that for your ankle mobility and also to really work into those calves that are posturally tight. Take one more breath here, and then we're going to slowly move off the wall. 2 options. Now, if you have neck issues, I'd suggest the first one. We'll come to that supine lying position we just did our hamstring stretch in with the ball under the head, our black Theraband, and we'll internally rotate the leg, taking it across the body towards the opposite shoulder, starting with our dominant tighter leg. This is our variation if you have any neck issues. We'll come into that. If you don't and you want to be a little more active, you can foam roll the tighter dominant side. And the top hand can be on the hip or behind the head. As you move through space, do your best to walk on the forearm and embrace the abs and not put that top hand down. But if you need it for a little leverage here and there, that's fine. Try to find sticky spots, and you're gonna take your body forward and back, twisting to intensify certain areas that need more release. You could do circular motions. You can walk forward and back, playing around, finding fascia that needs your attention. Wherever you are, you're breathing into the work you're doing. It can be rather intense, but it's really important for your posture that we release this area. Very, very tight area. So this is one where it might be great to do a combination to foam roll as long as you can if you have no neck issues, and then move into your supine position. If you have neck issues, perhaps you do a little bending of the knee. I'll move into the supine version just to show you. Perhaps you bend and straighten the knee to keep it active, or you play around with dorsiflexion and plantar flexion of the foot. Or maybe you lower the leg for a bit and do some pelvic tilts, and then you bring it back up once you've had a little break, because it is a long period of time. If you can breathe through it statically and hold it, excellent, but we don't want to experience joint pain. So keep the knees soft. Don't lock it out. Wherever you are, bracing the abs, foam rolling, or isometrically holding that stretch, maybe bending the knee and straightening the knee without locking it, or dorsiflexing and plantar flexing the foot. Be where you are. Honor your practice. Check in with your checkpoints, your feet. What are you doing with your feet? Your knees, are they soft? Is your pelvis neutral? Is your belly in? 30 seconds more here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hang in there. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Slowly make your way to the other side. Not as tight, not as strong leg. Either our supine inversion of the leg from the hip socket, taking it towards the opposing shoulder, so you're turning it in, pigeon-toed, just like we did when we stretched our peroneals, our outer calf muscles when we were against the wall before. Now we're getting that lateral hamstring and the IT band, both very posturally tight areas. Perhaps you're foam rolling because you want to move into the supine stretch a little bit later. Wherever you are, make sure you're breathing, focusing on your form. Remember those checkpoints. Start from the bottom up. What's happening in the feet? Are the knees soft? Is your pelvis neutral, or is it rounding under, putting pressure, excessive pressure on the low back? Tip it down if you're lying supine. Even if you're lying on your side, neutralize it. Pull the belly in towards the spine. Watch out for the spraying rib cage. I call it the spraying rib cage because What it does is when you push your ribs forward, you disengage with your shoulder blade anchor. So you don't allow yourself to use your upper back. And this causes kyphosis. It causes weak abdominal muscles. And we want to avoid all of that. So plug those shoulders down. You can widen your collarbone and at the same time pull your shoulder blades together. Keep your chin lifted and gaze a little higher than eye level. Soften the facial muscles, soften the brow. Just 1 minute remaining. If you want to move into the supine stretch, or if you want to make the supine stretch a little more active by bending the knee and straightening it, put the foot down, do some pelvic articulations, move into cat and cow, whatever you see fit right now. Listen to your body, move on your breath. Always bracing the abs to support the movement. Just another 30 seconds. Let's breathe together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Grab your heaviest loop band, lying supine for our Piriformis figure 4 stretch. Take it around your non-dominant, not as tight legs thigh. Thread the same arm as that leg, side of the body through, and cross your dominant tighter leg shin over, pointing the toes. Figure 4 position. Use your free hand to check your pelvic position. Make sure it's neutral. Tip the tailbone down towards the bottom of the mat. Brace your abs. And then use the hand to open the inner thigh, pressing it away from you. Hold it here, maintaining a neutral pelvis, maintaining your breath, keeping the low belly firm. Just breathing here. Now I'm going to give you a couple of options in a minute here. The first will be our trigger ball rolling, which the ball goes under the same butt cheek as your top leg. So the leg that's crossed over, the top leg, it goes under the same butt cheek as that side of the body. And you can then let up on the band and put that foot down on the ground and just tip your pelvis to the side, rolling out the fascia there. So that's one variation. And that one's a great one, just self-myofascial release. Stay with either that or your static stretch for your hip. The second variation I'll offer is we'll rise up onto our knees. You'll need a bolster, block, pillow cushion for pigeon pose. So you want the dominant or tighter leg forward. You kneel like you're proposing. You slide the bolster, block, or pillow under your butt cheek as you come down, bringing the foot towards the groin, pointing the toes, top of your back legs, foot's on the ground, micro bend in the knee. Sitting up tall first, inhaling, bracing the abs, and then exhaling to walk the hands forward. Trying to neutralize your pelvis here. Watch out for rounding. Trying to keep the hips square to the wall in front of you. It's your front leg's hip's going to want to pull forward. You want to pull that back and pull your back leg's hip forward. 30 more seconds wherever you are, either pigeon pose, supine piriformis, or rolling out that outer hip. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. From here, I'll have you slowly come out of wherever you are, whichever variation you're in, and I want to move into the supine piriformis stretch on our non-dominant, not as tight leg, which means that loop band will go around your dominant, tighter leg. Same arm as that leg, side of the body will thread through, giving you leverage, taking your other shin across, pointing the toes, using one hand, the free hand, under the low back to check that mouse hole still there. Tip the pelvis down towards the bottom of the mat, neutralizing it. Take the free hand to the inner thigh of the leg that's crossed over top and push it away from you, opening it up. Watch out for the hips becoming uneven. So lengthen the side of your body, lengthen your low back towards the bottom of the mat, extending that QL, really creating a lot of length. Now from here, know that you always have the option to move into the rolling of the leg that's crossed over top into that butt cheek, the outer butt cheek. Circular motions, digging in, and if you do that, just look at me, you know that you no longer need to hold that loop band and that bottom leg's foot is on the ground, so you have better leverage if you move into it this way. You can stay there, do that trigger ball rolling. You can also use the foam roller and come to sit on it. I'll show you that real quick. And you could do it that way. And your hands, forearms would come behind you. Same idea, digging into the top leg's outer hip. Or pigeon pose, which I showed you before. Coming into that kneeling position, taking the bolster under the butt cheek of your front leg, bringing the foot in towards the groin, pointing the toes, top of the foot of your back legs down, sitting up tall first, inhaling, and then exhaling to walk forward with the arms. So either pigeon pose or you're foam rolling with the trigger ball or the foam roller, your glute med, or you're doing your supine piriformis. 30 more seconds here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, brace your abs. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. We inhale, 2, 3, 4. Abs are tight. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. From here, grab your trigger ball. You can also do this with a foam roller if you don't have a trigger ball. We're going to move over to the wall to get into our posterior delts. Those are located between, you can actually go into the tricep and the posterior delt, and this divot is where you'll typically find a lot of knots. So when you flex the muscles of the back of the arm, you'll see this kind of divot space, and I want you to roll around that all the way around the tricep and posterior delt, moving the arm forward and back, internally rotating the arm from the top of the shoulder socket, externally rotating it, finding fascia. You'll really need to lean into the wall. You should be on your dominant, tighter side first. And if you feel like it's not so bad, you may want to try a side lying approach to this. So I'll show you that. I place the yoga block under the side of my head. You could also use the anti-burst ball or a pillow. And then it's the same idea. You're putting it in that same spot. Watch out for rolling back to compensate. Keep your body stacked, your shoulders stacked, your pelvis stacked, your abs engaged. And then work that bottom arm by pulling it forward and back, internally and externally rotating it. Now, I offered another option of getting into the lat, which attaches under the armpit. Stay with the posterior delt if you feel like you need a little more time. But if you want to go behind the armpit, under the armpit and behind the armpit, into that pocket of fascia where your lats, the biggest muscles of the back, attach, you can roll that area out as well. So you can do this again with a foam roller. And if you're doing it with a foam roller side lying, I'd put a yoga block or pillow on your bicep to rest the side of the head on. I'll show you that variation. And you'll breathe into that. If you're doing it standing up, you just want to play around with leverage, leaning into the wall, moving the arm forward and back, internally and externally rotating it. So it's all about where you can find better leverage and where you can dig in and tolerate it more so. So if you have a lower pain threshold, then the standing against the wall is going to probably be a little more tolerable. The floor is going to be much more intense. So you be the judge of what's going to be best for your body today. And make sure you're breathing wherever you are. From here, 30 more seconds on this side, either the posterior delt or the lat. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Good work. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Final one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Moving to the other side slowly, setting up. Starting with the posterior delt, you can do it against the wall or side lying, wherever you feel the best release. Again, we spend a little less time on our non-dominant, not as tight side, just 30 seconds less. This is still deep flexibility. level 4. So we're really getting into the muscles. On our dominant side, we're holding for 3 minutes with the option to move into active variations. On our non-dominant, 2.5 minutes. Remember what I said at the beginning of class about picking one exercise to try and hold for the full 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes. It's important that you learn to keep your abs engaged and stay active, and it does take a lot of ab awareness and postural alignment to hold a stretch for that long. And so you want to build up that strength to be able to relax into a pose. So relax meaning muscles that don't need to be working, you really let go. And muscles that do need to be active to keep you safe, like your abs, your upper back, stay fired up as you're working. So low belly in. Option to move to the lats now that attach under the armpit. Remember, side lying or standing, foam roller or trigger ball. Remember, the trigger ball is a lacrosse ball. That's what I like to use. It's great density. If that's too intense, you can go with a tennis ball. That's going to be a lot less intense. Make sure you're breathing here. Don't check out. Don't push the belly out. So pull the belly in towards the spine. Widen your collarbone. Plug your shoulders down your back. Keep your chin lifted. Gaze soft. Eyes should be higher than eye level at all times. Final 30 seconds here. Let's breathe together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Again, we inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Slowly coming out of that, making your way into cat and cow to finish up our practice together. Inhale, finding cow pose, extending the upper back and the tailbone up, bracing the abs in. Exhale, rounding, lifting up on the lower pelvic floor to support the back. Inhale, arching cow pose. Exhale, rounding, angry cat. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Final one. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Great job.